Okay, in this video I'm going to be looking at conditional expressions using Boolean and flag variables. Let's get to it. Okay, so we have our GUI here, like you remember, and I showing you the previous video the logical operators we used, and now I want to show you how we can use Boolean with flag values to make your life a lot easier in programming. So bear with me this scenario real quick. The user is going to enter his or her points, and we have an int level value that's 100 initialized, and then we're going to have a grandmaster flag which is at the beginning equal to false. So we're going to check if the user's points is big enough or large enough to qualify to be a grandmaster or not. If it is a grandmaster, it will get more level points. If it's not, it will reduce or get less level points. So let's talk about what is a flag. Well, if you think about it, a flag in real life, a flag can be up or down. It can have a flag on the flagpole or it cannot. Similar with Boolean values. If you think about it, Booleans can only be true or false. It can only be a 1 or a 0 in binary. So Boolean flags only have two values. So either true or it's false. Okay, and that can help you determine in your code which expression or which path you need to take in your code depending on the conditional values. Okay, so let's start. We have our int that starts as our int level that starts at the level 100 and a grandmaster Boolean value that's false at the beginning. So now let's test with an if statement if the user's points is greater than 5,000. If it is greater than 5,000, the user qualifies to be a grandmaster. So what you do, we go to the grandmaster flag, and say the grandmaster flag is now equal to true, because if it's larger than 5,000, it qualifies for being grandmaster. And just to show you guys, if it's not, the grandmaster flag will stay false. This line isn't necessary per se, because if it doesn't execute the statement, it will stay false. But I'm just putting it in to give our code a bit more body. Okay, so this is straightforward. You guys are comfortable now with the if statement. If the user's point is greater than 5,000, change the grandmaster flag to true. Now, what needs to be done when the grandmaster flag is true? Well, now we don't actually know, after these lines have executed, whether the grandmaster flag is true or false. So we need to test again. So we can test with if grandmaster's flag, don't know what that is, grandmaster's flag is equal to true. Sorry. So there's an easier way to test if this is true. We don't need to type out when you're using Boolean values, okay? Because a Boolean value, like I said before, can only be true or false, a 1 or a 0. So we don't need to have the equal true text inside. If we put it in like this, grandmaster flag, if grandmaster flag, this means if grandmaster flag is true. Okay, so that's what the shortened means. If grandmaster flag is true, then I want my level to be increased with 500 points. And just now, once again, to give a bit more body and to show you guys the difference, I'm going to say if I could have put an else here. Okay, I could have put an else, because if it's not, and I don't need to test whether the grandmaster flag is now false, because if it's not true, it can only be false. So I can put it like this and say then my level must only increase with 100 points. But I'm not going to do it like this because I want to show you guys the difference. So you can test if the grandmaster flag is true, the level will increase with 500. But if it is not, and this is where the exclamation marks comes in handy, if the grandmaster is not true, okay, so this means if grandmaster false, whenever you put an exclamation mark in front of somebody, it automatically turns it to false. So it says check whether this grandmaster flag is equal to false. If it's equal to false, my level needs to be increased with only 100 points. Okay, so now we can go here and we can say our label output.text is you are a grandmaster, and then after this, you are a grandmaster with the level points and then the level, copy and paste to save some time. You are not a Grandmaster with level points level. Okay, so I hope you guys understand that. It's real quick. I'm going to walk through it one more time. We have a user points that the user is going to enter, and we have an integer level that's initialized with 100, and then we have a Boolean Grandmaster flag that's automatically set to false at the beginning. And then we test whether the user points is larger than 5000. If it is, the Grandmaster flag will change from false to true, else it will stay false. And then we test, like, remember I said we can do these two statements in one if statement, but I did it in two, so I can clearly show you the difference. So now I test, because after this if has executed, I don't know, or the program doesn't know, whether Grandmaster flag is true or false. We need to test for the Grandmaster flag again. If Grandmaster flags is equal to true, increase my level with 500 and output this in the label. Now, okay, so it's going to go through, and if it's false, it's going to see, okay, no, it's false. Okay, don't execute any of these. Oh, it's false. Okay, let's increase it only with 100 and then print this. Okay, so let's see it in action. I input my 3000 points. You are not a Grandmaster with level points to 100. Remember, my level at the beginning was 100 and only increased it with 100. Now let's say 6000. You are a Grandmaster with level point 600, because I increased it with 500 points to my level. And that's basically how you're working with Boolean values. It's a lot, it comes in handy a lot, and it's very easy to implement with an if statement. Like I said, I don't need to have two if statements. I can only put this in an else, and it will still work. Oops. I just did it in two ifs to show you the difference. That can actually just be deleted, and we will get the same output value. 3000, you're not a Grandmaster. 6000, you are a Grandmaster. Okay, and that's all I want to show you with Boolean and flag values.